Back in 2020, an unknown power forward who was picked 41st in the draft prior was in serious contention for winning both Rookie of the Year and becoming a focal point of the Warriors' offense. Fast forward just 4 years later, and Eric Paschall is struggling to put points on the board overseas and has become nearly unrecognizable to most people that knew of him. So what happened to the once promising rookie that just vanished after a few seasons in the NBA? Eric's early life revolved around basketball. Growing up in Sleepy Hollow, New York, it made sense, with such a deep basketball culture surrounding the New York area. Basketball also happened to come naturally for Paschall, averaging 26 points and 11 rebounds in just his junior season in high school. By his senior year, Eric was just too good for public school, transferring to St. Thomas More and instantly taking them to a state championship and earning himself a Divisional Player of the Year award to go with it. His game was dynamic, especially for his size, earning the nickname Steps by many of his friends and teammates due to the lethal step back and his extremely deep bag on the perimeter. He even ended up playing AAU basketball alongside Donovan Mitchell, and at the time, Eric seemed to be the NBA-bound player of the team, which is crazy to think about today with how good Don has become in the league. After committing to Fordham College in New York City, dominating the weaker college division, Eric again would transfer to Villanova, a factory for NBA talent. Redshirting during their 2017 historic national championship run, Eric put together a highly respectable 3-year college career, including a senior season in which he averaged 16-6 with a near 10 for 11 shooting Final Four performance, earning himself some serious draft buzz despite his older age. See, Eric was already 23 years old by the time he declared for the draft, which severely impacted his draft stock and drug him down deep on most teams' boards. Luckily enough, the Golden State Warriors still deemed Paschall a valuable prospect with how good he was scoring and in his senior season, enough to use a second-round pick on him, selecting Eric Paschall with the 41st pick in the 2019 NBA draft. Expectations heading into the next season for the Golden State Warriors were probably as low as they've ever been in the past decade. Coming off an injury-riddled finals loss and Kevin Durant departing to Brooklyn, the bar was as low as possible heading into a 2020 year with Draymond Green leading the offense. On the other side of this, Eric Paschall had as much opportunity as you could possibly ask for, and no big expectations to go with that. Sure enough, the Warriors were horrible, finishing with just 22 wins on the season and firmly last in the West. However, there was one bright spot among all the losing. Paschall came into the league with something to prove, putting up solid performance after solid performance, finding himself in the underpowered Warriors starting lineup where he would average 17 points per game and 5 rebounds as a rookie starter. This campaign was enough to warrant Eric some real Rookie of the Year buzz, ending 6th in contention for the award by the end of the season, something not many second-round picks in NBA history have ever done. By the offseason, Warriors fans were very eager for the return of both Steph and Klay, and the highly anticipated arrival of the number 2 overall pick James Wiseman. Fortunately for Eric, this meant he would see a much reduced role on the 2021 Warriors with winning games in mind over development. Paschall still managed to post some respectable averages and decent efficiency in his lesser role, however the same flaws as a rookie were still prevalent, posting both a negative offensive and defensive impact when on the court. He could score with the offense surrounding him when winning was not in mind, however when it came to scoring beside stars like Steph and Klay as a complementary shooter or finisher, his production saw a huge fall off. Not being able to produce with the ball in his hands or make up for inefficient streaks on the defensive end resulted in Eric seeing himself traded to the Utah Jazz the following offseason. Maybe this was a change of scenery that he needed and a potential opportunity to revive his career. Maybe this was the change that Eric needed, and just maybe in Utah he would really show the world what he was about. With a change of scenery and a potential opportunity to revive his short career, there was actually quite a bit of hype around this during the trade. The main issue with Eric was, though he was great out the gate, he wasn't getting any younger any day soon, and with so many prospects coming in at the age of 19 to 20 in the draft, a 25-year-old slow power forward who clearly still needed time to develop was, to put it lightly, not welcomed by many teams in the league. With longtime friend Donovan Mitchell now an NBA All-Star and reigning defensive player Rudy Gobert in their prime, the Utah Jazz were also trying to contend immediately and did not have time or space to warrant a 25-year-old in a sophomore slump. Still struggling with his inabilities as an off-ball player and defensive issues on top of that, Eric would see next to no role for the Jazz in 2022 before inevitably being cut in the upcoming offseason. This would also happen to be the last time he would suit up for an NBA team as of today. Eric Paschall went radio silent after his departure from the NBA for the next 2 years, with next to no noise surrounding his name, before a video posted to X took storm over NBA fans everywhere. The footage released was a training video, and it was apparent Paschall had gained some weight since being cut from the league. Now, it isn't talked about nearly enough, but imagine the pressure and inner scrutiny going on inside his head after 2022 when he was cut from the Jazz. He had so many huge moments in the last 4 years, whether it be scoring 24 points in the biggest college game of his life, to making an all-rookie team over guys like the number 2 overall pick RJ Barrett, just for him to see himself out of a job in just 2 seasons. The constant pressure clearly impacted Paschall mentally, and if anything, the weight gain shown in the small clip from X proves that. Now, whether it be stress or just a falling out with the love of the game, Eric took a much needed break from basketball for the 2 years after being cut. Now, Paschall has been hooping once again, seen grinding in workouts and open runs all over social media, losing weight, and most notably earning himself a contract in an Italian pro league, where he plays for Pistoia, making his debut just 2 weeks ago. And although he struggled, Eric was quick to poke fun at his anger with a photo of him ripping his jersey after a 0-point debut, promising Pistoia fans he'll be better, even quoted saying these are the best fans in the world after just 1 game with them. Mind you, this guy played in the Bay Area, which happens to have some of the most passionate sports fans in all of North America. It really goes to show that basketball is a global sport, and some of the most passionate fans aren't even close to North America or in the NBA. Now, Eric Paschall's basketball journey may not have turned out to be what he or many would have hoped, but the ability to be a top 6 in Rookie of the Year voting as a second-round pick, play 3 years in the NBA, and make a return to pro basketball after stepping away for 2 straight years is inspiring to say the least. It would be stupid to say his basketball career was a failure by any means, although his timeline in the NBA is an extremely odd one to say the least. Hopefully Eric continues to enjoy Italy. I know I would, because that's a beautiful place to be playing basketball in for a living, and maybe one day we could even see his name on the back of an NBA jersey again, as he's still only 27 years old.